Let's finally set up my bullet journal for the month of August. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori and today we are setting up my bullet journal primarily using the Berries and Jam stamp and die set from Concord and Ninth. I have wanted to do a blueberry theme for quite a while, and I don't even remember when this particular stamp set came out, but when it did, and I saw all the blueberries and all of the different options that it had, I immediately purchased it. And I've just kind of had it sitting in my stash for quite a while. So I decided to indulge and use this particular stamp and die set for my blueberry theme for August. This was also a theme suggestion that I got on a video quite a while ago, a few months ago, to do a blueberry theme. So I thought that this worked out perfectly. So I am using regular black ink right now, and I am stamping out kind of a little jam jar situation that I will be placing on the page opposite of my cover page, essentially. Both pages are really going to be my cover page, but one will have the month of August and the other will basically just hold this blueberry jam jar. So I am using a Sizzix mini die cut machine that I got from Amazon to cut out all of these dies. And the largest die on here is the actual jar die, and it fits perfectly inside this little mini die cut machine, so it works out great. I did also check before doing this voiceover, and this stamp and die set is still available. Not only does it have blueberries, but there's also strawberries and raspberries, and I think blackberries as well on here that you can create. So there's a lot of options, and it's just so cute and fun. Now, as I was editing this video, I noticed that on camera, the colors I ended up choosing lean a lot more purple than blue. In person, they're a little bit more blue than they appear on camera, but they do have kind of a violet undertone, which is probably why they're appearing so blue on camera. But I just kind of wanted to give you all a heads up that it does look a little tiny bit different in person. I'm using a blue Ohuhu marker, and this is ultramarine. I don't remember the exact number of it, but I do remember the color name being ultramarine. I also had pulled out a couple of other different markers just to test some blue options, but I don't actually have any markers that are the perfect blue for blueberries. So I just kind of went with what I had, and this is what happened. I am going to eventually pull out a stamp set from Close to My Heart as well that is more of a navyish kind of blue. I believe it's sapphire, and I will use that to kind of just add a little bit of variation to my blueberries as well. And I think it makes it look a lot more realistic having the different variations in the color instead of having them mostly being like a violet purpley blue. So, yeah, I am going to pull out what I think is supposed to be the strawberry seeds on this stamp set, and I'm going to use it as a little bit of a background pattern that I will place behind my blueberry jam jar. And then I'm going to just peel the backs off of all of these stickers and stick them down. One of my favorite ways to use my dies is to stamp them out and die cut them out on sticker paper, because then all I have to do to get them down in my notebooks is peel the back off. I don't necessarily do this if I'm making cards too often, but I really like to incorporate die cutting into my journal layouts and stuff like that. And I think that it makes it so that I'm using those more as well. And then it also just opens up a whole different variety of options for me to use for decorating my bullet journals each month. And I believe in April, I also did a similar kind of theme for my bullet journal setup where I used a bunch of raccoon stamps and dies. And so I'm basically just kind of doing the same thing this month, but with blueberries instead. I am, after I get all of these individual blueberries die cut out, I will then add a big plaid background to the alternate page here, the right hand side of this spread, that I'm going to use my Tombow dual brush pen in color N89, and I'm just going to do every other line highlights, both vertically and horizontally, and I'm going to overlap them, and then in between those lines, I will use the bullet end of this marker to just add a thin line in each of the white spaces, both vertically and horizontally as well, and it makes kind of a fun little plaid pattern, which makes me think of picnics. Even though this is not really much of a picnic theme, it just really felt like it would go well with the blueberry theme to have more of a plaid picnicky type pattern in the background. So I will use this pattern throughout this setup. This page is going to have the biggest version of the pattern, and then the rest of the pages, I'm just going to do the top 3 bullet points of my actual journal, the top 3 dot grid spaces, and I'm going to use those to hold my actual titles for the sections. I did kind of just wing this lettering that I used for the title of August, and I'll also use the same lettering when it comes to my actual section titles in a couple of pages, and I love it. I love this so much that I was telling my husband that I think I should make a stamp set with this lettering because it's so cute and fun. So let me know what you think if you like this lettering as well and you'd want to see it in a stamp set, because it is being taken very heavily into consideration right now. So I did die cut out a bunch of those individual blueberries as well, and I am peeling all of the backers off of those and getting them stuck down. I am going to color in some of the open spaces with that same blue marker and try and make it a little bit darker. It it didn't end up looking as noticeable, I guess, that as I wanted it to. So I will end up pulling another Tombow out, a darker Tombow. I think it's N49 that I end up choosing, that I will be using for that little portion of the blueberry that is always a little bit darker than the rest, especially when it comes to like shadows and stuff. And I think that that looks really good. And I am also going to stamp "You're My Jam" in that little kind of label on the jar. Originally, I was going to put August there, but then I decided that I wanted my August title to be much bigger, so I had that blank space. And there is a couple of sentiments on that stamp set as well. But that was the one that was least like for somebody else. So I just went ahead and chose that one. I am now getting my calendar page done. I normally title this page "This Month" or this spread "This Month," but I actually didn't end up putting a title on this one at all. And to be completely honest, it's because I just didn't want to do it. So I just skipped it. And I am using the fine tip of that Ohuhu marker to outline the lines for my actual calendar. And I'm also going to use it for my days of the week and numbers of the actual month as well. Once I get all of those down, I am going to use that sapphire ink pad from Close to My Heart, which is unfortunately closed. So this is discontinued, but it's such a pretty blue. And I think that this worked out really well to just stamp some blueberries on the page. So good. I probably, thinking back on this after I finished it, I probably could have actually just used a brush and brushed out this actual ink pad onto that sticker paper and then used that to die cut out my blueberries. But I did not think of that prior to actually doing all of the work that I did. So we didn't do that. But if you have this stamp pad or a similar color and you decide to get this stamp and die set, that's definitely an option to get some really good looking blueberries. I'm just now then adding all of the dates to this page, and then I'm actually going to flip back over to my cover page, and I'm going to add some of that navy sapphire stamping to this page as well. You'll notice that I am doing just regular stamping, and then I'm also doing second and third generation stamping as well. I just really like the way that that looks and feel like it gives the blueberries like a lot of dimension, like separates them and gives a lot of variety of color, even though really in real life most of them aren't super different in color. Since this is a creative bullet journal setup, I can do whatever I want. So I wanted them to be a little bit variety. The last two pages that we will be working on today are my orders page and my currently's page. And I'm going to go ahead and do that exact same lettering style, changing it up ever so slightly. I think I like this version more than the first one that I did. So I'm going to do that same lettering style to do my titles for this page. And then I'm going to lay out the areas of my currently section and then just do a whole bunch of stamping. So the currentlies that I will be tracking for the month of August are going to be currently reading, currently watching, currently listening to, and currently playing. And when I was writing these out, I was planning to skip the first dot grid space of each section, but did not do that on listening or playing. So I just added a heart in front of reading and watching, and then a heart at the end of listening and playing to kind of make it look intentional. I'm leaving a little bit more space between all of my stamped blueberries on this page because I felt like everything was a little bit just too close together on the calendar page. And I think that that ended up looking a lot better and then did give me the option to also add in some of those blueberry stickers as well. And I didn't feel like I could do that on the calendar page because I had stamped everything so close together. The stamp set did also include this little like floral stamp as well that I'm just using in a dark gray color just to add a little bit of something else instead of only having blueberries all over the place. Pretty much that's going to be it. I would love to know your thoughts on this setup down in the comments below. I will have everything that I can linked for you in the description box if you're interested. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.